Oh. All right. How do I look? How do I look on there? Is that good?
You look good.
Why, thank you, man. I appreciate that. My mother thanks you. My brother thanks you. My second brothers, first cousins, next door neighbors, second grade teachers, great uncles, second cousins, next door neighbors, gas station attendant. Thanks you. That's all. Am I good? I'm sorry. Oh, sorry. If anybody wants to do the announcements, let them say that now, or else I will do them. Hello? Anybody want to do that? See, I can say anything I want if nobody's listening. Huh? Like my mom said? All right, so I'm going to do the announcements, ladies and gentlemen. Hear ye, hear ye. Welcome to Sacred Grounds with me, your Dan Brady, as the current host of this, the longest running open mic in the known and unknown. Did you want to read? Oh, okay, sorry, I got her. Known and unknown universe poetry, fine food, good food and fine poetry since 1972, in case you want to know.
I know.
Please support this reading by enjoying the food and drinks served here. Let's have a big hand for Teddy back there, because if it wasn't for him, he wouldn't be here, I wouldn't be here, and then we'd probably be sitting at home looking at your belly buttons becoming bigger than wash tubs. That's an old, I don't know where that came from, never mind. Poetry of all kinds, ladies and gents, is welcome. We ask that you please respect the mic. Keep your conversations to a whisper. And if you have one, and put phones on mute, vibrate, or airline mode, whatever that is. I'm turning mine off right now. Unless, of course, you have an expected emergency, then in which case. Also, do not vibrate the speaker. Do not distract the speaker or pass in front of him or her, because sometimes that can be distracting. Try to go around the back. Also, keep to the time limit, usually 5 minutes, but that can change. Remember, we have two shows. One starts at 7-ish, which this one is. The other one at 8:30-ish, which comes after the feature and the break. For this reason, I ask for generosity. Going short on your time helps with the tradition of getting everybody on the mic, although I think this evening should go well. Never mind that. If you want to be in the proverbial loop, we do have an opt-in email, and then there's a Facebook page. And this link there was the link to where you find the streaming, but now we have a Facebook, a YouTube streaming channel, and we're replacing that banner. We stream the video, and it's handy in 5 ways. You can view it from home, should you be there. Family or friends can see you live, or even after you're alive. If you want to hear so-and-so's poem again, good old so-and-so, why, certainly you can. It's the easiest thing to do. If you want to do a self-critique, well, if you really want to. And then it's a way to put out the word, yours, mine, or ours. Remember, the ongoing theme is never doubt that a small group of committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has. And that's Karl Marx. No, only kidding. Margaret Mead, really. Today, this evening's theme is synthesis, or synthesize, or synthetic, that group of words. And let me get the list here, because I usually have someone else doing this, and then I shout out. Let's see here. As to the first show, we have the keynote, Owen Dunkel, who is sitting right there. Wave a hand, Owen. Give him a little bit around oregano. And our feature is a group from Sacramento. This is Paul Aponte. Paul, he has a group of people here. You want to just read their names really quickly on the mic, because I don't want to make a mistake and then embarrass myself and them.
Oh, okay.
That would be terrible.
Let me read the names right here.
And he'll be doing the introduction and that. Yeah. Oh, you have an order?
Yeah.
Okay, he's gonna do that. I will stand aside
So
and
Pastor
wait.
Virgines is first, then Dr. Seila Hendrickson, Joanne Anglin, and one of our folks left, but if we have time, I will have Graciela Ramirez, Brower Ramirez in here, and then myself, Paul Aponte.
Thank you. So that's coming up. That's the feature. Notice that voice. You'll be hearing it later. Let's see. Be advised that although we record the evening, if an audience member wishes to do so, please ask permission. We will assume that you have done so should we notice recordings being made. So just ask. Probably people say, "Why, yes." So anyway, that is the checklist, check-in list. We have the sign-in list, and I don't know. Oh, there is. I forgot the door prizes. How silly of me. So the door prizes. James Joyce, Dubliners. If you've never read this is a nice book to get. There's a thumbs up over there, a thumbs up here. It's James Joyce, but you notice it's short. Okay. And then The Voice of the Desert, a naturalist's interpretation, Joseph Wood Crutch, the author of The 12 Seasons. I don't know anything about this. This was given to me by people who give me books. Now, if you're interested in Egypt, Canaan, and Israel in ancient times, you'll want to look at Donald B. Redford's book, a weighty tome. It is. And then Karl Marx's Concept of Man, with an afterword of Eric Fromm, just in case you like that. Oh, Nature's World of Wonders, and it has really nice pictures. And so, and the cover is not too bad. I think this is Bryce Canyon. So if you've never been to Bryce Canyon, it's a reason to go. I was there once and fell down. Birds of America. So it has, some color plates, but very nice quality work, very beautiful. And then, of course, if those don't float your boat, as my friends like to say, there are 5 other non-material prizes. And if you wanted to be the co-host, that's one of them. If you wanted to be the keynote speaker, huh? I can't, yes, those I have to,
Okay.
yeah, we'll take care of those.
What about the guitar?
Oh, yeah, and the guitar. There's the guitar here that Rob brought, and it's a beautiful guitar. And he said, what about if I gave this guitar away? And I said, what a great idea.
Wow.
Thank you about that. It's a good fiddle. Yeah, these are nylon. But, I don't know. Yeah. There you go. And so, so there's 5 other non-prizes, that being the co-pilot, the keynote, and the last word, and also someone who chooses the theme, which someone last week chose, synthesis or whatever that was. Synthesizing, synthesis, blah, blah, blah. And I think that's about it. Huh? Oh, yes, the mini feature. Sorry, that happens in the second half. Without these people, I would just be falling apart. And who is the mini feature? Britt? Britt Peter is our mini feature of the evening. Thank you so much. Without my team, I'll tell you, this place would fall apart in a minute. And I'd be out there drinking. No, I stopped that years ago. Never started, actually. I'm rambling. Please stop. All right, so give Owen Dunkel a round of applause. He's our keynote of the evening. And we'll come back during the open mic. He's probably going to stay there. Bob, are you going to come up to the mic? Huh? Okay, I just want to make sure you're going to be after him, I think. I don't know. All right. Get a little closer, Owen.
Okay. Poem I've selected is the
Bob, you're not on yet.
Thank you. I didn't know he was doing that. Okay, go ahead.
Is The Second Coming by William Butler Yeats.
Oh, yeah.
Turning and turning in the widening gyre, the falcon cannot hear the falconer. Things fall apart, the center cannot hold. Mere anarchy is loosed upon the world. The blood dim tide is loosed, and everywhere the ceremony of innocence is drowned.
Right.
The best lack all conviction, while the worst are full of passionate intensity. Surely some revelation is at hand. Surely the second coming is at hand. The second coming. Hardly are those words out when a vast image out of Spiritus Mundi troubles my sight. Somewhere in the sands of the desert, a shape with lion body and the head of a man, a gaze blank and pitiless as the sun, is moving its slow thighs, while all around it reel shadows of the indignant desert birds. The darkness drops again, but now I know that 20 centuries of stony sleep were vexed to nightmare by a rocking cradle. And what rough beast, its hour come round at last, slouches towards Bethlehem to be born. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Owen Dunkel. I'm giving him the attribution sheet, so whenever you read something by somebody else, I give you that. So I don't always write The Clown Brigade by Lawrence Ferlinghetti. We didn't write The Clown Brigade. I don't know if it's going to reach all the way over there.
He could go up and read it,
He could.
but we'll cater to Bob.
All right. See what happens. Okay, just there you go.
He'll let him.
Hell on earth, it's clear then I'll be born a baby in. So do not tell, do not question, and tremble in your suggestion.
Oh, that. And well, sorry. You may approach now. I turned it down. I didn't know that was going to happen. I forgot that I was. There we go. Yeah. All right. So, you ready? So let me read the next five. We have Kelso, Owen coming back for the Open. The keynote always comes back for the Open. Then we have Jake, Ed, Tommy, Stephanie, Yasmin.
So here's the title. Everybody Knows. The Life and Times of Zen Priest Jerome. This book is a manuscript carved by hand. It is no substitute for a Zen master teacher. Yet, we must start now. Start where we are. Make do until we meet mastery. As Kel, I am grateful to the wisdom of my teacher, Jakasud Gregory Wood, Forest Bookstore. Thank you all for listening to this mirrored story. Thank you. My MO, turn the page. Each page a poem. Focus. First thought, best thought. What is the Zen perspective? Thank you. A question. Is my syntax fractured? I kid you not. I make relentless puns. I have no niños. I think in Spanglish. I'm going a bit far afield. The field of Forest Bookstore. Gregory Jakasu Wood's home. Palace, grind, pestle, mortar. I sit with my teacher there. Yoga teaches yoga. A field teaches a field. His love is lucid, each page a poem. Thank you. In my imaginal third eye, so to speak, I see a tarot picture, page of pentacles, the money thing. I am broke, but not broken. Good book, mindful money. A theme to develop a practice. Never perfect, practical makes perfect in the sense of completion. What say Gregory? If I may be casual, addressing my root teacher. Thank you. Good morning, Gregory. Tiempo to po, pop, po. Write a poem, Gregory. My father is dead. Long live Bruce, my dearest father, a strong man. My parachute mind jumps freely. Mente, that means mind in Spanish. Mente Zen in Espanol. Zen mind, beginners now. I practice my Zen, my Spanish as I speak. Out loud with this pen. Please edit me, Gregory. I need work. The last page. Thank you. Po, po, poi, Hawaii. Poi poem, Hawaii. The Buchanan Mall, Osaka Way. Hawaiian warehouse across the street. Maybe I go there. I am cryptic. The cobblestone river runs through this. This mall is a river of stone. A voice. You nailed it, Kelly. Let me explain. Do not average your senses. Be a sensei, a teacher, a teaching. Teach the child. I watch my pen write. Nothing left to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, so, and now, like I said, the person who does the keynote always comes back to do their own poem, so we're bringing back Mr. Owen's uncle. And then Jake, where's Jake? Oh, okay, all right, sorry. Yeah, Jake, then Ed, then Tommy, then Stephanie. And now we have Mr. Owen coming back. Let me just set the time for him. We're get ready to go.
Thank you.
Oh, let me just move this way a bit. There we go, show you much better.
On Columbus Avenue. Nothing comes of my mind today, just as an exchange between people, myself and passers-by are like snowball fights. A snowball fight on a sunny day in San Francisco, always full of empty moons. The moon could have grooves that wish they could talk like flowers, like flowers that are biscuits talking themselves into being fried into fat. Twin Peaks. We are poets are like two horses that have burned down our barn. Cast off. My sentence is a loose hawser I have cast off. It splashes in the water like an oar. My notebook says, thank God, no more red ink. Dark night in the park. My ear listens softly to the cry of the night of songs and anxiety. Passion is only for the desperate. Everyone else craves order and success, the bliss of no wind. I wonder what the park could say to me. The mud splashes and squishes and maybe had a way with tramps and the forlorn. Hope of guitarists, not as Picasso would want. The steersman, no longer a peasant, but North Beach. North Beach, the lusty trumpet of the soul, of evening lights and the settled down rest. Pixie dust lines in spaces that lie down in my mouth. Night of the poem. Tonight is the night of the metaphors that are ghosts that have tried to be themselves. Sometimes the lines are too long to become a sonnet. Sometimes there is no imagination left on the face of the earth. When the lines, the metaphors are brilliant, they shine like rubies or emeralds on a woman's fingers, or they are shy flowers that think they're not good enough to blow in the warm desert wind. Flowers like poems are quiet during the day, then shout aloud to the laughing night. Pace. The pace set on very busy Sansom Street. The pace kind of crazy. Nothing very lazy. Good God help me to someday find myself. Or maybe there is a person I thought I tried very hard to be, but could. Sonnet, February 14th. Valentine's Day already beast. Years ago, I was beaten easy, but it seems as though it were as no time has warped my metaphors. 40 years as though they were yesterday. I miss very dearly my mother and father. Time, it seems, only yesterday has made me its urchin orchid. Only a rival can have any real value to me. Only they can understand the way my life, a brown study from the beginning to the present day, has had from the very outside its nowness and forgiveness. I still mourn and am.
Thank you, Mr. Owen.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Owen Dunkel. All right. Jake. I'm letting you yell outside.
And after Jake is
Ed.
Ed. Was doing Sacred Grounds.
Hello, how are you? Oh, wait a minute, I gotta raise this up because you're a tall guy.
Yeah.
And just make sure you get right on the thing, and let me see if I can raise this up. Is that good?
Yeah.
Okay, just get really close.
Actually wrote both of these today. One before work and one like right here in this place. First one's called Something About You. Something about you. I forget what it was after a while, but when I see you, when I hear you, when I replay you in my head, like that song you just can't shake, something about the chorus, the guitar, the vocals, something that whispers to me on an ethereal level. I remember, you're a little stranger than most, but more importantly, you own it. You don't give a fuck. Marching, no, dancing wildly to the beat of your own drum. Dance hall is small and intimate. The dancing is raw and primal, exuding confidence, brilliance, understated sexuality. You don't care if everyone joins in. It's more of a private affair. But my God, how I dust off those dancing shoes to tango with you there. The first time. This one's called Don't Believe the Lies.
Okay.
Don't believe the lies. Be your own science experiment. Hypothesize on those lies. Show me the damn proof. Put it to the test. Put some money on it. You'd be surprised how much you lose. Don't believe the lies. Run from them. Eschew them. Don't apologize. Don't explain yourself. Just go. Don't believe the lies, and if your foundation is built on them, then go now. North, south, east, west, wherever that voice in your chest is moving you. Don't believe the lies. Put on that tutu and parade through the streets. Sport that ridiculous haircut. Let them murmur what they like when you come home. The lie is you should do what they want. The truth is, F them. Don't believe the lies. Don't even acknowledge the liars who falsified documentation to rent space in your head. Didn't even pay a damn security deposit. Freaking freeloaders. Don't believe the lies, even the well-meaning ones. The brain may be the driver's seat, but the heart is a map. And if you look and listen, you'll know where to go. Don't believe the lies. Life isn't an instruction manual. You can't engineer love. He's a gas station attendant at a missed exit. She swings on a swing in the woods. Only you know how to get there. Don't believe the lies. Be what you want and who you want. Do what you want and who you want. Love what you want and who you want. Leave what you want and who you want. Life's too short not to. Thank you.
Go over this thing. Huh?
Ever.
What?
Many minutes.
5. Okay. Oh, Ed Mike, can you give him a round, please? The Honorable, we call her Mr. Ed Mike, just so you know.
That's when you get old, you get called mister.
Yeah, I know.
The Great Smokies. Jazz, chism, cool rhythm, band and sticks, so slows and quick quicks, and it's ready, Eddie, and you a quit, jerk, fool in the melancholy pool. Balloons, draped body parts, soft crowns, hard glories, and the red refusing the insults, itching, the luck that is the grease. As the slack slips up, bottom veils, top perhaps, but aimed like fog, and oh dreamer, dive into me.
Nice.
Green thing. Looks like a weed thing. Maybe a string bean. Looks like a twig thing. Foolish. Has binding possibilities, wild justice, an insistent note. Well, call it love or time. And while the train leaves home, stories skitter like rose smoke or unfamiliar manners, and memories, my memories, maybe you.
All right, Tommy Abacolamika. Give him a round as he comes up here. What do you know? What do you know? What do you know? Yeah. Okay, he's on.
My country, 'tis of the land of hypocrisy, of thee I sing. Land of the pilgrim's pride, committing genocide from every mountainside. You let hatred ring. There are olive trees in the Mediterranean thousands of years old.
Yep.
Tough, wood-skinned elders, ever patient, like meditating, leafing Buddhas. They sit quietly in the relentless sun, as they always have. Their roots burrowing ever deeper, their trunks ever widening. They have no way to tell us what they know, or maybe they choose not to. Somewhere nearby, a 4,000-year-old jar of olive oil is uncovered in ruins on Sicilia. Countless stone and metal amphorae, some with the oil of those trees, are lifted carefully from the wreckages of elegant sunken ships and human bones at the bottom of the waters off the jagged coast. The ghosts of those boats can still be seen, sailing in the late hours of a warm Napolitano or Andalusian night, when ageless stars clutter the sky and the always haunted moon is full, insistent, and ancient as the boats that leave the blue-black waters undisturbed. Their crews know they're dead. Though they move through the years, time doesn't pass. Restlessness has no destination. My aunt once told me that olive oil oozes from our pores. All of us who trace our lineage back to that sea in the middle of the earth. My blood may look red, but in my veins it's green, sometimes black, like the fruit of the ever stoic olive trees that never die. And finally, I'll end with a little poem dedicated to Rudy Giuliani.
Oh, Rudy Giuliani, shut the fuck up!
Who is not my paisano no matter what the fuck he may say. I'm not speaking. Words aren't words. You're not listening. Ears aren't ears. It's not day, it's not night, time is not time. We're in a field that's not a field. The grass is high, though it's never going to be grass or green or smell like a hot summer day from my youth. The relentless sun's not a relentless sun. In a sky that's not a sky, blue as blue isn't. There are no clouds, which is good because as much as they may look like them, they wouldn't even be clouds. The train that's coming toward us isn't coming toward us at all. It's not even a train. So let's just stand here on the tracks that aren't tracks and be assured there won't be a train wreck, because death isn't death. Thank you. Oh, by the way, I'm doing a show Monday night.
Oh, wait, I got Pat. He's giving a show Monday night. I'm going to pass these
It's
around.
20 minutes of an excerpt from a longer show about my adventures as a mad drag queen in the early 1970s.
It's worth it, ladies and gentlemen. They're going around. Take one if you would like. Thank you, Tommy. Give him another round as he goes out there. We like that, man. All right. Hooyah! As they say in France, God bless us all. And now the magnificent Stephanie Manning is coming up to give us a taste of her particularly beautiful stylings, as I like to describe them. And she is a professional. She has been here many times. I can raise this up.
Okay.
Okay, just saying, you know.
Okay. So, a lot of you know I'm a
Yes,
birder, and went to the monthly bird walk, Audubon bird walk at Fort Mason on Sunday, and so I'm writing this as a reaction to that. And it's called D minor fog at the gate. D minor fog at the gate, not so golden. Foghorns blow their melancholy tones to the ships, to the long old history, to the illness of the history, to its looming death at the hands of madmen. A sad, low requiem as warblers decorate garden kale hardy and parrot flocks careen the eucalyptus. Long, low foghorns intoned out at the gate. The only hope, green gardens behind historic buildings and warblers, black phoebes, and the return of ground pelicans.
Yeah.
And this one more is this, I was cleaning up a pile and and this is a little too low.
Yeah, I was gonna try to raise it up.
Good.
Here.
And so I found this book, my boss gave this to me, called How Can One Sell the Air? The Manifesto of an Indian Chief, which was Chief Seattle.
Yeah.
And I'll just read a little section of it. This was his response in 1854 to President Pierce. And it begins like this: how can one sell the air? The white chief says that that big chief in Washington sends us greetings of friendship and goodwill. This is kind of him, for we know he has little need of our friendship in return. His people are many. They are like the grass that covers vast prairies. My people are few. They resemble the scattering trees of a storm-swept plain. The great, and I presume good, white chief sends us word that he wishes to buy our lands, but is willing to allow us enough to live comfortably. We shall consider your offer to buy our land. What is it that the white man wants to buy, my people will ask? It is difficult for us to understand. How can one buy or sell the air, the warmth of the land? That is difficult for us to imagine. If we don't own the sweet air and the bubbling water, how can you buy it from us? Each pine tree shining in the sun, each sandy beach, the mist hanging in the dark woods, every space, each humming bee is holy in the thoughts and memory of our people. The sap rising in the tree bears the memory of the red man. We are part of the earth, and the earth is a part of us. The fragrant flowers are our sisters, the reindeer, the horse, the great eagle, our brothers, the foamy crests of waves in the river, the sap of meadow flowers, the pony's sweat and the man's sweat is all one and the same race, our race. So when the great chief in Washington sends word that he wants to buy the land, our land, he asks a great deal of us. We know that the white man does not understand our way of life. To him, one piece of land is much like the other. He is a stranger coming in the night, taking from the land what he needs. The earth is not his brother, but his enemy. And when he has conquered it, he moves on. He cares nothing for the land. He forgets his father's grave and his children's heritage. He treats his mother, the earth, and his brother, the sky, like merchandise. His hunger will eat the earth bare and leave only a desert. I do not understand. Our ways are different from yours. If we should sell our land, then you must know that the air is valuable to us, that the air passes its breath over all life that it maintains. The wind that gave my grandfather his first breath also received his last sigh, and the wind also breathes life into our children. All things are bound together. All things connect. What happens to the earth happens to the children of the earth. Man has not woven the web of life, but he is one thread. Whatever he does to the web, he does to himself.
Oh! Stephanie Manning! Yasmin? Yeah, I saw it. And something from the novel, yes, or?
Yes, of course, something from the novel. I just discovered that Tommy and I went to Temple University at exactly the same time, so I pulled out a piece that is about Temple in Philadelphia. It's a bit rough, but I'll read it anyway. By the way, this is, it's been so many years since I've been in this country, but there's still visions of those first few days. So this is dedicated to all the immigrants who come over walls, under walls, through walls, legal, illegal, whatever. It's been a rough journey.
We're glad you're here.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm glad I'm here too. Omri's first glimpses of Philadelphia were like raw yarn hanging, unknotted, from unfinished carpets. She could not work the fibers together into a definite pattern. People building streets remained like fragments in her mind, their shapes blurred and unfamiliar, their frames distinct from those in the country she had just left. Her first few weeks were spent in the vicinity of Temple University, where she was to start graduate school. Temple University appeared as an expanse of paved roads, which led to the bell tower centered in the midst of cemented structures. Here and there lay mounds of grass, infrequently disturbed by weeping willow trees. In the hidden crevices of their arms, which relaxed towards the ground, Omri spotted young couples kissing. She had been shocked by their openness. They embraced in broad daylight outside the library lawn. In Bombay, she recalled how couples had to escape to the muddy trails which dipped down from the hanging gardens into the shadows of palm trees in order to steal a solitary kiss. Cautious about the scrutiny of passerbys, here the couples seemed oblivious, even to her, when she walked up to them, curious at first, and then challenging them with her intrusion. They looked at her a moment, at the length of her sari, falling to her ankles, at the abrupt halt in her blouse on her midriff. Their eyes seemed to question for one brief moment before they fell back on the grass, locked in each other's embrace. How could they, she thought, with everyone watching? She shifted her eyes to the library veranda. No one watched, only she. Philadelphia, she was in it. She was in the United States. Her dreams had come true. Yet the contours of the city remained distinct from the ones in her dreams, from the images which filtered through the Elvis Presley movies she had seen in Bombay. Philadelphia was a human chest seen through an X-ray machine, a broad, thick spine, Broad Street, holding the ribbed streets around it. The streets were clean and bright. No spittoon marked their tarred surface. No cow dung spotted their pavements. The emptiness of the streets frightened her. It reminded her of the only time she had seen the streets empty in Bombay, when there had been war with Pakistan and there had been a curfew. The streets in Philadelphia permanently under curfew, and under the streets there was a blackout in the city which lay underground. The subways, dark funnels which led to the glaring eyes of prancing trains. Here she had been trapped in the newness of the tunnels, of metal coins dropped into coin slots, of doors which opened into compartments without being touched, of walls within the compartments marked in strange letters which curved like spiders, their tentacles secure in the ink web, spreading as a background behind the silver-gray hair of old women with bright lipstick, red-orange rouge, the color of vermilion, on Omri's forehead. She was in Philadelphia. It had not been easy. It is unorthodox, Father had said, when she had presented him with her admission slip to Temple University. But Father had promised her. If she had finished, she would go. She would go to America. My daughter will never go to America, he had said. Women don't go off to a country so free, so unprincipled, so immoral. No, you shan't go. You are a Muslim woman. Don't forget. We cannot live like them. We can't. Brother is in Canada. You let him go. Her furious protests. He is a man. Father had been final with his words. She was in Philadelphia. Thank you.
Yasmin! Excerpt from the book.
Daniel Bean.
Daniel B. Okay. She's gonna frame me up. Thank you so much. So, shameless, the shameless self-promotion department. These are my upcoming events that I'm doing. So I printed them out, and I figured I would pass them around. Just take one if you'd like, and or just they'll come around. I told me to stop that. Oh, that's because I had it boosted up. All right. So synthesis is the theme, and both these pieces have to do with that. But I'll give you a choice, A or B. I heard A first. Thank God. Okay. Reflections. Just as water slipped off the moonlit strand, one star's reflection lay close to hand. Fighting the ripples, it seemed fraught as if in fearful struggle against being caught. When the waters settled into the grains, its light faded into their dark remains. I kept station, awaiting the sweeping sheen's advance, expecting a reprise of its unsteady dance. The water returned to overtop my shoes this time, leaving upon them both sand grains and rime. But I saw it near to me, I saw it there. Even as I noted, a leak in my elderly boots wanted repair. To catch this note from far, far away, I decided to stay. I studied its shimmer as if it were a personal display, considered the long, cold journey evinced by that dot, and how we came to be on what became our spot. The wind was coming from the west that night, and while it was steady, it was only slight. Yet it bore a sweetness I would have otherwise denied, for she came to mind, as did regrets, and I sighed. But as I stilled my body, my mind wandered all the more, began turning the pages of my life's storied lore, took a trip touring the vistas of my yesteryears as I stared at this light and felt a few tears. Only the silent moon gave its witnessing glow to that which I would never otherwise show, but I was alone, and so passions could be spent as I looked onto the light which kept me intent. I did not have the satisfaction of a heart warm in its bliss. Rather, I had the benefits of a spendthrift ways gone amiss. I longed to mend that which should never have been rent, the precious evolution of a love which was transcendent. And here was a glimmer of light in that water so near, which, in touching my soul, had then become love's souvenir. And while it could be said the star in the sand was nothing at all, still it became something for me. It had meaning withal, no matter its silence or the grace of its wavering light, and that it could not know what it inspired that night. Ages upon ages come, as this or all recollections go, while ever to the present, to the timeless times flow. And so did I wait upon this anonymous star's light, as we both reflected in depth late that one summer's night. Thank you. And this is, they call it Singing. That's the name of the poem. And the title doesn't have a lot to do with the poem because they were separated, but I shouldn't say things like that. People. Here we go. Again, it's synthesis. For miles around there is farmland, but I stopped to look at you, a great but lone tree of a kind I do not know, but which has long taken root here in the soft love of the great mother through the parade of seasons. Your leaves seem golden in this light, and your whisper, your limbs in motion, so the thousands of leaves follow in millions of ways. This is your body singing. No wonder children love to come near and regard you as friend. Home to any bird, they join in with you, though they play tunes of feast or drink while you sing only of time. I took a portion of this day to touch you with peaceful intent, give you a pat, speak softly, and in a way offer to you the grace I feel as my beautiful eyes behold your elegant naked frame. The The friendly wind plays soft through fluted clouds drifting in the sky, and you have a beautiful style, wonderful taste in friend, and your mind refines mine. Your spirit laughs with the ground, and this is freedom. Intimate with our mother, you reach to the stars with muscular limbs, moaning in your passion so that God is pleased. His hands find your soul, feels its yearning to build music. We share instruments, you know. We are companions on this earth. And so with it are we friends of the sun and its planets. Mountains and clouds envy your dances. They might, my legs or tongue, were I among them, and singing as I do now, hopefully with you as you dance. So there'll be no sleep tonight. I am become a pilgrim with the whole of this prairie as my summer house. And it's true, love does bring out the truth, that one is never forsaken, as one may be by the joys of our simple paths. Surely, my friend, we can guide each other here, find what's hidden forever when all we have is time. That night, heaven lifted its filmy veil, revealing the magnificence of myriad worlds flung out upon the universe of unlimited love. And our conduct of that love was exemplary.
Thank you.
Yes, Richard May. Richard May. I think I goofed up my reading off of who was next, and I did that. And I apologize completely and with utter reckless abandon. And then we have the cursive writer, am I correct? He's giving me that look. Richard May, give him a round of applause, a dramatic personae. Okay, I'm going to move this way over here so it's not even in the field of vision.
So usually I do acting, but I'm gonna do just a trifle that I wrote. It's called My Week. I recently came across an article about the world's most expensive house. Please don't ask me how it did not come to my attention sooner. It's just too embarrassing to go into here. All I'll say is the phrase "good help is hard to find" has some validity. Always in search of a bargain, I dutifully clicked on the link. At the end of a very informative video tour, I scrolled down to see the list price of $500 million.
Only.
Well, that did it. This is a property I decided was worthy of serious consideration. I reached for my Gucci Cordovan leather planner. You never know what you'll find at Goodwill these days. Only to discover that I was booked for the next few days. No, really. The slopes at Gstaad had just opened, and I wanted to get in a few runs before the tourists got there. God, how I hate the Kardashians. I said to myself, well, there's always Tuesday. I'm usually bored to tears on Tuesday. Of course, Wednesday we're out. I mean, it is hump day and all. Thursdays just didn't feel right, never had. Thursday is the no man's land of the week. It's after hump day, but it is also by no means the weekend either. For God's sakes, it's not even Friday. Friday, the end of the week. Despite it being a work day, as potentially complex a deal as a $500 million change of ownership can be, it might be a bit too much to ask to be completed by 5 on a Friday. But I do love the energy of Fridays. All the frustrations of the week are chomping at the bit to come out, and of course they do. The problem is that it is still technically considered a work day and requires that you show up at the usual time for the beginning of the day. So by 10 in the evening, most folks are conditioned to get ready for bed. And we all know that the party's not even getting started until 11. Hell, I am still in the shower at 9. Saturdays? Well, first of all, Saturday is not a standard business day. At least not in most of the civilized world. And let's be honest, I am not about to buy a $500 million house in a third world country. One thing I am not is a colonizer. And besides, Colonel Sanders has pretty much ruined the whole white suit plantation thing. Now, if you want to talk about partying, well, this is your day, because you have gotten the immediate gratification of Friday out of the way. You are now free to indulge yourself without the calorie of having gotten up early on the day, only to poop out just when the party is getting started. Yes, indeed, many a life has been undergone, shall we say, drastic changes on a Saturday night. Oh, Lordy. This is a well-known phenomenon among those who study the space-time continuum. It is called, yeah, but it still feels like Saturday. You know what I'm referring to? The transition between Saturday and Sunday. Yes, technically the day does change at midnight, but come on, we all know that Sunday does not really begin until the sun comes out. As long as it's still dark, it is still Saturday. The point is, have you ever tried to make a $500 million purchase at 3 in the morning on a Saturday, Sunday? Believe me, it is hell on wheels to even find the Kinko's open at that time. Which leads me to Sunday. Yeah, I know, nice segue. What can I say? Sunday is the one time of the week when I am officially incommunicado. I refuse to let my publicists or accountants know where I am. If I want to sacrifice a two-headed yak to the same God that blessed the Donald, it is no one's business but my own. He will, of course, become aware of my devotion via my Twitter feed. And really, at the end of the day, you have to ask yourself, what would the Donald do? To the best of my knowledge, the Donald never closed on a large party on a Sunday or property. Or for that matter, paid for one either. Evicting his new Dewell minority tenants, now that's another matter, but I digress. Monday, finally a bona fide business day. I think it might be prudent of me to form a committee to see what the environmental ramifications of a $500 million purchase will be on my tax bracket. I love Mondays almost as much as I love the Donald. Thank you.
Thank you, Richard May. And now we have the Kirsten Ryder. And while he's coming up, I have to tell you, I read a story, and the headline of the story was, "The most expensive apartment in the world." And this is according to the article. It is in Monaco, and it is the suite of rooms that Princess Grace used to live in, and the price per night is $87,500 per night. However, the service is supposed to be great. Oh, can I move this a little bit this way? I want to frame your face.
Oh, stop.
No.
We love you.
We love you.
Frame everybody.
There you
Framer.
go.
This guy's the famous framer.
Julie,
I want to just give it up one more time before they depart her into the earth. Give it up one more time for the Queen. Prove your existence. USA wants me to prove my existence at 72. Went to school, served in a genocidal war forward, worked, paid taxes, now receiving Social Security, Medicare. Now USA wants me to prove I'm an USAN citizen. What, you didn't know all these years? Now you want me to prove I exist? Have you been brain dead all these years? Been led by morons for the rich, like those in the swamps near Virginia, where you'll find some of the biggest thieves of all times who want another level of control in guises of protecting freedoms, democracy. Are we going to stand up to the government saying enough? Doubtful. It's bottom up, not top down. Someone seems to have forgotten this, but then again, USAN citizens are scared of their own shadow, want freedom from choice, not of choice. So they're going to control you after all. You are children. They in Colombia are the great white fathers with a few mothers. Indigenous people on Turtle Island know about the great white fathers. Get used to it. You're becoming the new Indians slowly, so you won't notice. Sort of yes, with a little maybe thrown in. Mix it up with a fair debate, arguments. May have to repeat more than once to get it right. Yes. My cathedral. cathedral is where the sky meets the earth. It is the vaulted ceiling of my world. Sistine Chapel, I don't think so. Your chaos seemingly does not build, only destroys as your ceiling eventually falls, crashing down on your order, returning it to chaos. Your gods are unimpressive, your dialogue repulsive, in its cruelty disguised as love. If you really know what love is, do most governments, religions, all are cons in the white man's world in structured USA. They believe they rule, but as with all things, that is only in their minds temporarily. This is true across the spectrum of religion, governments. None have the beauty, wonderment of my cathedral. Galaxies laid out like pool table, where universes, galaxies lay waiting for the cue to hit one universe into another, spreading maelstrom and new life. Things are alive in motion in my cathedral. Okay, the last one will be black robes, white robes. No doubt, white robes, known as the KKK, are recognized throughout this empire. Black robes, mostly forgotten, do more damage in this empire. They beget, known as white hoods. Black robes, your priests, judges will keep you from hell, prison according to their pronouncements of laws and order. Thanks to them, things wrong along with the crimes against humanity are now legal law of the land. White robes may be on their death throes thanks to the younger. The seventh generation is now gaining power. Now will no longer allow themselves to be used against each other as politicians and religious leaders would want. Black robes, white robes, your death knell is near, and we will follow you to your caskets when in the ground we will water you with the water that runs down our drains.
All right, so I'm going to introduce just a very tiny thing about you, and then you'll take it from there. Ladies and gentlemen, we are in store. This was a store. This was actually a cleaner's a long time ago. Think about that. We're in a cleaning establishment. We're cleaning our minds, cleaning the souls. What's about to happen is a set of teachers. Paul Aponte has put them together and brought them here. They're great, beautiful, powerful voices. And we have Paul and four others. So we have like a fivesome for your very eyes, so to speak. And Paul featured here, you featured here a couple of times, right? Once, okay. So at some point he came here, and then I said, you gotta feature! And then he featured here, and then a while back he said, what about doing something like this? I said, what a great idea. So we have a great poet organizing other great poets to come here for us this evening. It'll be a wonderful set. He's gonna take over for the moment. I'm gonna make sure that that works, and you shall have a cleansing of the soul.
Pressure, the pressure.
I know. No pressure.
Thank you all for coming. I really appreciate your being here. We're going to be reading from our anthology that we put together. We're writers of the New Sun, Escritores del Nuevo Sol, from Sacramento, and many poets actually go from different towns to go join us. This anthology was has a foreword by Lucha Corpi, who's a published novelist and poet, and also a historical perspective on Escritores del Nuevo Sol that's been around for over 25 years in Sacramento with a lot of deep history. And there's a write-up by Joanne Anglin on the historical perspective of Escritores del Nuevo Sol. I wanted to mention that.
May I ask you a quick, you have copies of this?
We have copies available. And Joanne will let you know the price when you approach to purchase one. Very reasonable for what we got there. So I wanted to mention briefly the vision statement that we have as a poetry group and writers group, and it's to free creativity of words using peace, sustainability, and justice as our canvas, to interact, stimulate, and elevate each other as poets and writers. And I want to introduce, first of all, Pastor Begines. He graduated from San Francisco State University, where he majored in Latino studies and learned to present the beauty of his culture through his writing. From Vallejo, California, here's Pastor Begines.
The title of this poem is To the Brown Child Waiting for a Transplant. Mira, mijito, you're about to die. It's all right. It's no one's fault. Your parents were born the wrong race. You were given birth on wrong land. It's not your birthright to live a healthy life, to live past age 9, to have hopes and dreams, to expect more than famine. Sorry, mijito, that you're gonna die. It's what you get for being a leech, trying to get in the transplant line. No one asked you to take from the right kids their health care, their hopes, their dreams, their right to a better life. Sorry, mijito, but you got to die. We don't need more foreigners taking up our land, eating up our food, drinking up our water, dirtying up our streets, stealing up our jobs, tearing up our language, mixing up our breed. It's all right, mijito. Now hurry up and die. Our pains will soon be over.
Wow.
And this second poem is Dear America. America, you've complained about our lack of education, our unwillingness to assimilate, our lack of motivation. You've done so with teachers who saw our culture as a thing to frown upon, who saw our ways of learning with not much more than a glance, who saw our bright creativity as a distraction to the class, who saw our loud passion as a danger to your society. America, you haven't given us much of a chance. Your teachers were given shades to be colorblind, but they also became culture blind. They were not allowed to let us appreciate our heritage, our ancestors, our beliefs, our tongue, ourselves. America, you were fooling us all. We can learn your language, even while we appreciate ours. We can learn your history, even though we want to learn our own. We can learn to color life in black and white, even while we paint our vibrant portraits. We can work your 9-to-5s, which are better than our overnights. America, you've been lying. We do want to continue our education. We've been climbing over the walls you built with ridiculously high tuitions. America, we've been learning about you. We know of your brutality. We've been living in it. We know of your unjust laws. They've been slashing us. We know of your greed. It's bankrupting our future. We know you want us silent, but there's only so much abuse we can absorb. America, when are you going to learn about us? We aren't here to steal your land. Your thieving ways aren't our ways. We aren't here to corrupt your language. Your style of stripping tongues isn't ours. We aren't here to dirty your land. We don't wipe out cultures with smallpox. And we've been cleaning your land for decades. Your property never shines so proudly. America, dear America, we just want to live your dream. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, that was him? I told you.
Dr. Seila Henriksen, Ecuadorian poet and researcher, now from Sacramento, now residing in Sacramento, has published several books and participated in cultural conferences across the planet, including Canada, Mexico, Panama, Argentina, and Spain. Here's Seila Henriksen.
Seila.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My poems are in Spanish. So, ¿quién habla español?
That's fine.
So, the only people who are going to understand are the ones who speak Spanish. This poem is for my granddaughter. She's, I have a group of dance from Ecuador, and since she was 4.5 years old, she said she wanted to dance in the group. And she was I was impressed, smart, She was so smart and it just it amazed me. And now she's 10, 11 years old and she's a ballerina. So this is, I saw an angel. So, hoy vi un ángel, niña grande, expresiones profundas, girasol esplendoroso de vivencias antiguas. Hoy vi tu espíritu, en tus ojos de ángel caído, que por gracia de Dios hoy ronda nuestra vera. Te miro en esos 4 años que van a 5. Me admira tu crecido entendimiento, tu belleza espiritual, tan inmensa y tan profunda, que aflora tus labios en cada sonrisa. Tienes alma y cuerpo de danza, pero son cortos tus años para tu voluntad. Me asombra tu callado entendimiento cuando te hablo de un paso que tus piernas infantiles tratan de captar. Hoy te quiero más que nunca, como a nadie he querido. Te quiero con el alma, en plena admiración de esa presencia que dejas, como el aleteo de un ángel. No cambies nunca, niña, que las brisnas, las espigas y las espinas solo te pulan cual diamantes, que un futuro brillará en su puro fulgor. Mi corazón se rinde a tus pies, porque hoy sé lo que es el amor. Eres tú, Ana Karina. Gracias.
Gracias, Ada. Now, Joanne Anglin is a member of Escritores del Nuevo Sol since its inception over 25 years ago. She teaches poetry, writing in several interesting places, including the famous Folsom Prison, and is the soul of our group, Writers of the New Sun. Here's Joanne Anglin.
I don't know about the soul, but thank you. By the way, on the back of our book it says $16, but that's way too complicated for change, so it's $15. So I will, and I want to mention about Pastor's reading. He's not only a fine poet, he's a wonderful essayist, whether it's humorous memoirs or whatever. And he lives in your beautiful city right now, so it's wonderful for us to see him. And I have a couple poems that also relate to children. The Age of Reason. To reach the row of little girls in white, we had to open the doubtful gift of examination of conscience, exploring as we would dissect a frog those days of honeysuckle and hopscotch to find the evil that lay in all of us. Insisted we were old enough to know right from wrong, but not from the inadequate 10 Commandments. Of little guide, being as we were on the cusp of coveting and with no intent to murder anyone. Not as innocent as it seemed, when all inside us was stained. Little pools of sin in wait to be blotted up by prayer and penance. Committing became the new kind of rain, seeping into the very grooves of our brain, the whorls of our tainted little fingertips.
Beautiful.
This one is called Sending the Children. Sending the children. And so they put them on the trains. The Jews in Germany and Poland, Londoners and Parisians then pinned childish names to little coat collars, gave them bread, sent them to strangers. They put them on rails to other countries, to countrysides, to far regimes. Here, they said, we face bombs and ovens. Go to foreign lands, other hands Your parents now will be the fates. In New York, too, wild Irish orphans in the 1880s were put on trains, sent away. Their strength and freckled beauty went where the vast unknown would surely be better than the local lurking brutality. Even today, from Guatemala, El Salvador, they weep, tearing their children from their own arms, hearing the darkness creep toward their little homes, each evil armed with guns and machetes, come to snatch the children. So the parents race the terrors, bundle their niños, give them tortillas and blankets, trust in the foreign as they put them on the train. Thank you.
Wow.
Wonderful, Joanne. Thank you so much. Odilia Galvan Rodriguez couldn't be here tonight. Instead, we have the wonderful Graciela Brauer Ramirez, who taught Spanish and ethics studies at California State University, Sacramento, for 25 years. And she's a wonderful poet that's been published. It has her own many publications and been published in many anthologies. And let's welcome Graciela Brauer Ramirez.
Make sure this is good for you. Is that good?
I'm too short. Yeah.
Yeah, and get really close and I'll focus in there.
I'm going to read this poem, but I need to explain you a little bit before because it's a historical poem. In Mexico, they used to have in pre-Columbian times a god of the rain, and they built a huge statue of that god, but it was far from Mexico City. And at one point, the people decided to move the statue from the place of its birth to the Museum of Anthropology in Mexico City. And at the time when they were going through the Templo Mayor, or the major temple, the rain began to pour in great quantities. There came a day when your gigantic statue was moved from its birthplace to Chapultepec's sacred emerald forest, where hundreds of crickets sing for you the eternal welcoming song. Slowly, so slowly, 168 tons of stone moved through Tenochtitlan's streets, cradled in the specially built trailer, going slowly, so slowly. During the night, work crews disconnected and reconnected electrical wires needed because of your 23-foot height. Perhaps you laughed for all the attention from the multitudes. After the 30-mile journey came the huge explosion, like a big bang, embedding our memories back in our city, recalling years of invasions, centuries of deep pain. But finally, the gift of a spiritual renaissance as you pass through the Zócalo, the great temple, El Templo Mayor. At that precise instant came the deluge, your fertility water, your life-giving water, your survival water, your baptismal water, your melting jade rain that poured over us, running in force through our city, washing us in blessings and forgiving waters, through archaeological sites, the burial homes of your ancestors, the burial homes of our ancestors. Tlaloc, the great Tlaloc, the eagle and the serpent acknowledge you as the Lord of the third sun, as God of all waters. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Graciela. I appreciate it. Thanks for standing in. And now I shall introduce myself. Let's see, who am I? I'm Paul Ponte. Oh, I got that one.
I like that man.
A Sacramento Chicano poet, mechanical design engineer, and world famous karaoke singer within the walls of the Mother Lode Bar and Grill in Sacramento. And without further ado, here's some poetry. Let's go right for that. This is about Francisco X. Alarcón, a poet. Yolteotl, mind of love, mind of warrior, embracing unity, subtle, intelligent words, to enlightenment, to recognition of self in others, in Lakesh. Few words, turning American pie into pan dulce, Chevrolet into lowriders, nopalitos into giant prickly pear nopales, bearing fruit, reaching far and wide, caressing the good in people aspiring to do the same, clearing darkness, birthing curative agave words, lighting truth, sprouting fields of corazón, el gran corazón que nos hace falta. And finally, the good life. The years trickled through like the beginnings of a Sabino Canyon flash flood, like the first drops of a Tucson monsoon, like a failing roof on a windy, rainy day, drip, 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 drip. Life happens whether we're living it or not. Let's live it, flow with it, grow in it, float along on our backs while staring at the stars in it. Stick our hands in it to improve our path, to evade the thorns, to find those exciting things, to shift closer to those flowing with us. In the aftermath, gems are exposed and new life springs forth. The cooled, wet, clean desert scents bring life rejoicing energy. The new roof looks wonderful, and we rest. Thank you.
Well, I have to report that I was remiss in my duties as a host. This, for the people that you brought, these people, this was their first times here, correct?
Yes.
Well, we forgot to give them the traditional Sacred Grounds welcome, and that can bounce over to Paul since he's going to be with him. Please give us that kind of welcome. We normally do. People come out of the animal noises, pounding on the wall, stomping the Yeah, we should have done that first, but I forgot.
It's great at the end.
Thank you. Well, that was good. What a great group, right? What a great group. So I'll be talking to these individuals and maybe convince them to come back. All right, so we're going to take a break. Now, just so you know that this machine will be streaming, but it will face the wall of poets. And about 5 or 7 minutes, the second show will start. We got a lineup. Let me just go through that really quickly. We have Rob. Oh, you're the last word, right? Okay, Rob has the last word, kicks us off. Mark, Sharon, Jello, Britt, Hal, Paul, Garrett, Melissa. I put you on, Melissa. All right, and I got her on there anyway. Then we got Maya. So you're new, right?
Yes.
Oh, good. So we'll welcome you the same way. And it looks like Emma Lee. Is that you?
Come on.
Oh, come on. We don't bite. And then we got Karen Milan Ragoon and Rob closing us out. So we'll have a great second half. Let me tell you, 5 to 7 minutes. We'll be back up here. Same bat time, same bat station, as it were.
I'm sorry to wait, but I can't stay that long.
What?
So,
What?
I'm sorry to wait, but I can't stay because
Oh.
I got another thing.
So is the one thing is happening on Wednesday, the other thing is happening on Friday. Is that right?
Oh, you mean the public thing?
Yeah. You have a Wednesday thing. But
No, I don't think it's
I thought there was something that was happening on a Wednesday. That's why I couldn't go.
It's the 29th.
It's light. Yeah.
And there's one this Friday, the 24th. But I think you're involved in that.
Oh, yeah, it's such a meeting.
The 29th of September
Is that
is a
Okay, then I completely misunderstood.
Maybe there was one.
Maybe the first time you were trying to organize it, it was actually going to happen on
There was one on a Wednesday, and they did one on a Saturday, and I said, that's ridiculous.
Well, then wait, are they all nylon
I think that was the
I love that. We got you, and then what you
But
read.
now the one coming up on the is a Saturday.
I think that's not your feature here.
Okay, did you send me, can you send me another email? I might have lost.
Put those together a little bit.
I would like to go.
I'll be
You can send me an email. I don't want to forget.
Well, everybody else wants me to do flyers, it's just because it's
So you can have people show up.
yeah, I know, that's my feeling.
You would think.
I am under I just.
That's it.
It's the only way that I can track, people call me names. I can't do anything for long. Yeah, I know I can't.
I want to, I can be the
Golden Gate Avenue. Yeah, Golden Gate Avenue.
He's always at this, I went to this clubs in the heat. And they, somebody had a guitar on set.
I don't know. No, they didn't have it.
And I passed it up and then I could have kicked myself. The next day I was like, oh, damn. Should have grabbed that.
Well, if it speaks to you.
Tackle people, tackle them.
Who wants an antologia? Antologia, $15.
You take cards?
No. We are poor. We are poor, right? We are poor.
I never get cash anymore.
No, I always carry cash.
Sure, because I always find myself.
No, never. If I don't carry cash.
Is there another place that we can get the money?
Yes.
Who wants to buy an antologia? $15. For points. This is 4 points. Cash. Money
The kid who's got the one that takes care of her. That one. But then, of course, she was a characters or whatever. Well, I don't know. The shows it is, so we got it like 40.
Oh, I always appreciate it. I think I've never been
Yeah, so I'll let you I'll stop it. And then you won't, I won't go for PvP, anything I want to do. I didn't know which one to talk
Well, I worried because he was, well, no, I guess another neighbor was very nice when I was calling for him. Like in the middle of my home.
She said no.
And I said, well, I don't think I sent my audit card. When he was like, I grew up here, raised 5 years.
Oh, it's
But there must be a lot of people that I
Thank you. Beautiful.
Do you want to stay for the second part or do you want to go? Yeah, I put in my photos for some reason. I get distracted. Because I have to record it. Somebody has to record
I just did it.
What's your name again? I don't have a photo. What do, I was putting everybody.
Well,
Where are you? Joe, Britt, Hal, Paul, Garrett, Melissa, Shan, these two guys, where, you signed?
You pointed to me and I nodded and I thought you put my name on it.
Oh, I didn't do that.
Okay.
Okay, well, wait, I could put, this person is supposed to have left. Let me put you there.
I'm not sure I understand. Where are we now?
We're gonna, this is the first, next person up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so you'd be the seventh person up. So you wanna go here? Thank you.
Is that good?
Bring it, all right. Okay. All right. Oh, and those two people.
I mean, in
Okay.
a way that it's like,
Okay, well, that's good.
I don't know, it's like every time I'm around there, no, yeah, definitely a good thing. And I just, it inspired me because I was thinking about her, work before I spend more time on it.
Yeah, the courage giver right there.
I think I'm gonna go. I'm kind of tired, but next time if I come, I'll come at 6:30. That's when
Yeah,
sign-up
yeah,
starts,
because the
right?
first show, we kind of organized it in two shows. The first one people starts around 7, the second one starts at 8:30-ish.
So sign up starts at 6:30 though?
Usually like right before 7, like 10 to 7, 5, like
Oh,
right around-
really?
yes,
Right.
right like that. Because I don't get here sometimes until like
Oh, till like a quarter to
quarter
7?
till and stuff like that.
Oh, okay, so like a quarter till.
Yeah, yeah. But you can come, you can get here, you can be here earlier, and then
Yeah, right,
yeah. And then I pass the sign-in sheet around, right before 7 or right around 7 o'clock. I give it to somebody, and then they pass it around.
Yeah,
Okay.
right at 7.
Yeah.
All right, thanks.
All right.
Not gonna wait that long?
It seems like it's. Hi, this is Dan. I just wanted to ask you a quick question. So the little cell, what do you call that thing? The hotspot. The light is blinking, but it's like an orange color. It's not blue. But the numbers are still clicking along, so I'm wondering, that should be okay? Oh. Okay. All right. Oh, okay, so what happened, because there was a time when I had to, it had a connecting thing, so that's what was going on. Okay, all right, thank you so much.
So,
Yeah, yeah.
¿cuál es el nombre del amigo y already, okay. So, Paula
Oh, okay.
Joan, and
All right. Yeah, I understand that. Okay. You are beautiful. Yeah, if you had said no, I was going to argue. All right. All right, thank you so much. All right. Folks, we're going to get started. If you want to take your seat, and if you already have one, you can place it where you think might be comfortable. And I think Rob is kicking us off the second show. Last word, Rob, where are you going to be? You want to be there? You want me to focus? Oh, he's standing up there. Now, he is going to do something a little bit special. So when the time runs out on him, he will then do part 2. Is that what you told me, right?
Yes.
Yes, it is. So let me just focus in on here. Frame this young man. He likes the young man part,
No, he doesn't. I want the respect of an elder.
You want to be a silverback?
You got many years to go.
Young grasshopper.
Am I cleared? Am I good?
You're good.
Okay. Before I share tonight's offering, I have an announcement to make. Sharon and I are expecting.
Oh.
And of course we're not gonna, the child will get their grown-up name when they're a teenager, when the tribe picks it as a reflection of their personality. But the temporary name that we're gonna give this child is the Cursive Pooper. And tonight I have for you a fairy tale. This is the story of Empress Ranky. In the happy land of Kowloon, there once lived an evil empress named Ranky. She had all the gold in the land, all the gems in the land, and all the land in the land. But the one thing she didn't have was all the talent in the land. She hired voice teachers, acting coaches, music maestros, but inevitably, any performance she gave sounded like tubercular cats humping. So Ranky hatched an evil plot. She would have her scientists construct a talent sucker. They slaved around the clock and finally presented her with a nasty-looking machine that had a huge inverse cone at one end. which would steal and store the talent of anyone at whom it was pointed. Ranky cackled with glee, but how to get all the talented people of the land in one place? Her astrological advisor, Sharon Sania, except for the, oh wait a minute, sorry, I lost my place. Her astrological advisor, Sharon Sania, the loquacious, suggested she host an open mic extravaganza with a bucket of gold going to the winner. Ranky said, "Oh, that's a delicious idea, dear Sharon Sania, except for the bucket of gold. Have you never met performers? They work for nothing and love it. Why, just get an open bar with watered-down booze. You won't be able to keep them away. Yeah, on second thought, don't water down the booze. We want the performers to think they sound great." And so it came to pass. On the night of the extravaganza, Sharon Sania stood in the wings with the talent sucker. As each performer went on, she zapped them. And the musicians sucked. The comedians blew. The poets, well, no one could really tell the difference with the poets. Where was I?
Where were you? On stage.
Finally, Ranky took the stage to give the climactic royal performance. She held her fingers above the strings of her mandolin and nodded to Sharon Sania, who suddenly swung the cone out toward the crowd, spraying the performers with their own talent. Ranky shrieked, "No!" Sharon Sania shattered the talent sucker and cried, "People of Kowloon, your empress brought you here to steal your talent. I have worked by her side, learning her ways. Tonight, her evil reign shall come to an end. But her rankness is unrelenting. Is there a champion among you who will fight by my side?" An enormous eunuch named Dan Bradifus leaped on stage, crying, "I've waited for this for years. I even had my genitals removed by piranha so that I would be immune to Ranky's sinister sexcraft when the revolution came." Sharon Sania said, "Maybe a bit much, but okay." Ranky glowered and cried, "Fools, you think yourselves a match for my magnificence? I'll mangle thee." Sharon Sania and Dan Bradifus hurled themselves at the Empress, crushing her between them amid a burst of debris and a shower of sparks. When the smoke cleared, what was left of Ranky was still standing. A ghoulish cackle came forth, and the Empress pulled the remaining strips of skin from her body. Beneath, a glistening steel skeleton with glowing ochre eyes looked out over the crowd. Ranky was to be continued in part 2.
Oh! Leaving us hanging. I love it. All right. Mark, this is your first time here, right?
No, you say that every time.
Okay, good old time. Let's just give him a round of applause. We haven't seen him since the last time. This is Mark.
Third time.
All right.
And it's 3 poems. The last one's very short.
Okay, you're on, buddy. We trust you. We believe in you. We respect you. And you can give me the money later on.
First prayer to the ancients. I need you guys to show up. We need you guys. Everyone else is an asshole. You already knew that, and now we've figured it out too, some of us anyhow. But not the ones with power. They haven't figured it out, which is exactly why we need you to show up. Why, by the way, does power so often tragically do this? Make people clueless and vain, smaller and smaller. Is it so that we, innocent and good, but powerless, might walk among the others and stop time like giants, like phantoms? That is why we need you to show up. We will be phantoms no more. We will seize the reins. We will occupy the buildings. We will institute democratic control. We are brave. But we are not fools like the others. We do not imagine ourselves capable the fundamental principle of democracy. None of us alone is wise enough, only the collective. You must believe in the intelligence of the collective. But as you know, that is a kind of mystical intelligence, species wisdom, in the sense that it's primarily a receiving, which of course is why we need you to show up. We are ready to receive. We will know wisdom when we hear it. Speak to us, through us, in us, with us. Speak and we will hear. We know you are our best selves, deposited for this purpose in the stream of time. We are a species in a world that always wants to live. We have lost our way, but we know you have created things for us, things which will speak if we listen. Books, poems, music, kisses, these are your instruments. We know. We bow, we kneel, even as all the fools scurry this way and that. We are prostrate before you. Speak. Second prayer to the ancients. Okay, that was good medicine. Sorry, I hadn't realized at first, kind of resisted it. The hawk, right? Never had nature stared me in the face like that before. Full, yellow-eyed glare, full of meaning, like the way Redbeard stares at the new doctor in the Kurosawa movie. Business, serious business here. He hovered right in front of me, wings out. I'd say he looked furious with my slowness. But can a hawk not be intense? I don't think so. So maybe that's just their way. Anyway, this was a singling out of me. There were all kinds of people there, families, and he was much like an aggressive aircraft targeting me, but not to hit, to tell something to. Then he began picking things up, grasses, worms. I mean, clearly it wasn't all about me. He was hunting, I suppose, but he also remained astoundingly focused on me, even as he did that stuff, as if he were demonstrating. Seems most distinct in memory as the act of discrimination, picking things up, cleaning, inspecting, and then eliminating most of them, the actions of a prospector. I have heard about Raccoon and his washing of things in the river of life, looking for value in events, emotions, ideas, people. When Hawk spread his wings, I could see his muscles so taut, a full body edged as if a metal hinged carriage underlay his pumping arms, his white and flexing form. Business, serious business here. The yellow glare so close, maybe 5 feet straight into me, hovering like an aircraft, returning to the spot more than once as I disbelieved and discounted, lost in the stupid days of the crowd. Though I did not dare move except to turn with him, I watched everything until it ended. I'm not that stupid. Picking stuff up, sorting it, rejecting most of it, grabbing again. Value, yes, that is the medicine, the determination of true value, what moves the spirit, what comes from love and builds love. We must search for this, keep only this, and courageously reject what is not this, yes? Third prayer to the ancients. The work, it's about the work, serious business, yes. All of us with this work to do, turn things over, wash them in the river, bite for gold. And my work, I was on my way to this place to read poetry for the second time. My wife and friend would be there. On the rocks, I had just written the poem I would read. I had read the poem to the waves as I wrote it. You, Hawk, met me as I was walking back up the path from the old bath ruins to the Land's End tourist shack. You, Hawk, called me out of my human circle with your yellow stare. And you, Hawk, showed me the muscles I'd need to use for real wings, beating hard, stretching out into the wind, feathers shooting out of my arms and hands, opening.
Thank you, Mark. All right, we have the illustrious and illustrated Sharon Scott Kish coming next because crazy Kansas City kids, as she likes to call them.
Kansas City. First off, Aretha Franklin died this week, and Fox Radio put Patti LaBelle's picture up.
No, they did not.
Oh no.
It was Gladys.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a stupid mistake.
Really stupid.
Here, let me.
Oi.
That. There's that pen. I gewandert.
Okay, this is from Shirley Chisholm.
There we go.
Okay.
There we go.
Racism is so universal in this country, so widespread and deep-seated that it is invisible because it is normal. And this is from Pearl Bailey. Hungry people cannot be good at learning or producing anything except violence. So this is called Side by Side. Charlie Cross and Minnie Coyle lived next door to each other in Aunt Margie and Uncle Buster's house on 27th Street. The house had been very proper, large brick federal building, 3-story, single family, built in the 1800s. It was magnificent, but cold. Mahogany stairways, marble bathrooms, pull chain toilet on the 2nd floor. Lots of leaded glass and stained glass winding stairways. Beautiful, beautiful stained glass. Laundry chutes, dumb waiters, servants' quarters. Great house to hide and to play hide and seek. The house was divided into a few one-bedrooms and some buffets or studio apartments, which they shared the bathroom, which, by the way, was also a water closet in mahogany. So cold, so dim, it was like being in a coffin. But at least you didn't have to wait for someone to come out of the bathroom. Once when Aunt Marjorie was gone, with her friend Barbara, Uncle Buster and I went upstairs, and I painted the claw fingernails red. Marjorie was not amused. She only liked the bathroom, reeking of Lysol and clean as a pin. The characters that lived in the building were all unique, but we didn't think so. Just folks going about doing everyday life. And on the 1st floor, as you open the massive doors, the massive leaded doors, Charlie Cross and Minnie Coyle and the Browns lived. That was Uncle Buster and Aunt Margie. Minnie and Charlie lived next door to each other. They lived there since the late 30s. Charlie had a high-pitched voice which got higher when he was excited, and he would stutter. He was a cook at Fred Harvey's in Union Station. Minnie was the matron at Hartsfield's high-end department stores, taking care of female customers in the lounge. Soap, perfume, hand cream, brushing off the lint from their dresses. These are the kind of women that give you a dime as a tip. I love going to their apartments. Charlie's was dark, the furniture, oriental carpets, brocade drapes, mahogany tables. Dresser and nightstands, so tasteful also. Good smells always coming from his apartment. Maybe once a month, he and some of his friends, they would come over and they would play bid whist or canasta. There were men in their late 30s and 40s. Occasionally, he would run out of ice and he would stop by and tap on the door, with which he would always bring some baked goods. If he did need the ice, he was always there and always very polite. His candies were famous. He made a mean bowl of fudge. In the building, the women would try to fix Charlie up with dates. But Minnie was something. She was changing colors, and the kids were always fascinated with her. We wanted to touch her. Aunt Marge, is she going to be white when she finishes? Aunt Margie said, no, she's going to be Minnie. So Minnie always wore high-heeled shoes at home, Chinese robes, and she had lots of gentleman callers. These men would always come and their drivers would sit outside, and in an hour or so, they would leave. One day, a woman came to Aunt Margie's door, banged on the door. Did she know Minnie? Oh, she used to live here, but she doesn't live here anymore. Oh, my grandmother laughing. That's got to be some kind of crazy white woman coming over here looking for Minnie Lyle. We know she's here, but she works downtown. She could go see her down there. We laughed. Charlie, they tried to fix him up with many of the women in the neighborhood. Charlie wasn't having it. The last time someone tried to fix him up with a woman, he had dessert. They had dinner and he had dessert. And he comes back and she's on the sofa in her slip. Well, Charlie goes out the back door Goes to the Aunt Margie's and calls a cab for her. Comes back in, puts her clothes on her, and puts her out. That's the last time anybody tried to fix Charlie up with someone. And I said, Uncle Buster, what's that all about? And he says, well, do you know what a gelding is? I said, no. He said, go look it up. I said, oh, okay. And I looked it up and I went, so that's what Charlie is. He said, well, yeah, kind of. You'll figure it out when you get older. So then, at that point, the women stopped trying to pick Charlie up. Charlie never had dinner with anybody alone again.
There we go. Sharon Scott Kish from the upcoming novel. All right. Now we have Jello Pop. I know Jello Pop is here. That's not how I used to know her name. Jello Pop, where are you? There she is. Give her a round of applause. She comes up here. We haven't seen this woman in a while. Wow. All right, and there we go. Thank you, and welcome back.
Thanks for having me back.
Yeah.
So I'm going to start by reading a poem from, I don't know who, but the words resonate with me.
All right.
I don't want to go, but if I have to, then I will. All right. God of our fathers, known of old, Lord of our far-flung battle line, beneath whose awful hand we hold dominion over palm and pine, Lord God of hosts, be with us yet, lest we forget the tumult and the shouting dies, the captain and the kings depart, still stands thine ancient sacrifice, a humble and a contrite heart, Lord God of hosts, be with us yet, lest we forget, for called our neighbors melt away, on dune and hill and sinks the fire low, all our pomp of yesterday is one with Nave and Tyre. Judge of the nations, spare us yet, lest we forget, if drunk with sight of power we loose, wild tongues that have not thee in all, such boastings as the Gentiles use, or lesser breeds without the law, Lord God of hosts, be with us yet, lest we forget, for heat and high that puts our trust in reeking tube and iron shard, all valiant dust that builds on dust and guarding calls not thee to guard, for frantic boasts and foolish word, thy mercy on thy people, Lord. Thank you. And
I toned it down a bit.
Okay, well, let's keep it. Alright, for my next and last performance, first I want to say thank you, but not in that way. Thank you. I heard all of you, and you really spoke to me, and it's good to go, you know? So, whether on stage or transitioning through to the next page, I don't know, I wish I had a sage, but they're so far away, and I don't see anything but metal and gray. The metal in me likes to have a day where I can say that there's a lot of love living, there's a lot of love to give, a lot of love left, but I hope that I'm with it. Hashem, I give it up to you when I wanna be part of this sin. Every end is a beginning, and when I think about it no more, then I find myself rolling on through that door, opening every door, opening each one more, keep on going till I'm back in a cycle, going back in it, and I built some s'mores on a campfire, relive my life all the way, better light, and I don't battle darkness or light. I don't think there's an easy answer, but I like to do my dance and prance around, think about it when I make my happy sounds, and I pick these moments to be vulnerable. That's why I'm down. Thank you.
Thank you. Joe Pop! And Matt, Britt, Peter, our mini of the evening. Then we got Al, Garrett, Melissa, Shannon, Karen, Rob. Rob, coming back to give us part 2 of that. And he is our mini of the evening, ladies and gentlemen.
In being, only in endurance and memory had he been touched by love, he lied. It slipped his mind. Now seeing the crowns of full rivers running, as the train runs past winter trees and old villages, unaware, struck new, remembering, a gladness flowing through his veins, the taste of peppercorns against his tongue, train noise and silent upwelling. How to deal with all this? Take off the large hat, clear your throat. It will fade again. Sing new delight just for this moment in being.
Beautiful.
August 23rd, 1927, Charleston Prison. Maybe it only happens in the movies. The long walk down the narrow hallway, the dimming of the lights, it's over. But if tonight at midnight the lights dim, remember this is the 91st year since Sacco and Vanzetti were murdered by the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. The establishment did this. Holmes was quiet. Sinclair had doubts. Find the sticker that says, question authority. Stick it on the fender of your bike. The town clown still holds sway. Viva anarchismo. Strange caring. 2 young stage riggers were hanging out on the floor of the dry dock early evening. They sampled from the Labota before coming to work, wine stains on their vests, reeking of it. Not a great wine, but a good wine. Did you know this is the 43rd year since the Massachusetts elders murdered Sacco and Vanzetti, Pete said. The other, Quick Steve, got a funny look on his face. He was young and hip. He later became a CPA. What's the point in remembering all that old stuff? They were about to joyfully get into it when the leaderman came by, assigning them their work for the night. The elder of the 2 young stage riggers was still bothered. He remembered seeing a picture of Rexroth vigiling at the gate before coming west with Andrea. He remembered reading Dos Passos, this is for Richard, USA. We are two Americas, said Dos Passos. He remembered the Ben Shahn paintings, the black-robed elders, their chalk-white faces, Vanzetti's broad hat, the shackles, the two in open caskets. He remembered the retreat at Forest Hill, where Ammon Hennessy told the youngsters of taking Rosina Sacco out to see her husband. Yeah, he remembered all that old stuff. It's called history, and it's all still stuck in his head.
That's good, Peter. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the mighty Hal Robbins will hold forth. Then we got Garrett, Melissa, Shem, Karen, and Rob.
The theme is synthesis.
Yes, dear.
So this is from a play by T.S. Eliot called The Family Reunion. In an old house, there is always listening, and more is heard than is spoken, and what is spoken remains in the room, waiting for the future to hear it. And whatever happens started in the past and presses hard on the future. The agony in the curtained bedroom, whether of birth or of dying, gathers into itself all the voices of the past and projects them into the future. The treble voices on the lawn, the mowing of hay in summer, the dogs and the old pony, the stumble and the wail of little pain, the chopping of wood in autumn, the singing in the kitchen and the footsteps at night in the corridor, the moment of sudden loathing and the season of stifled sorrow, the whisper, the transparent deception, the keeping up of appearances, the making the best of a bad job, all twined and tangled together, all are recorded. There is no avoiding these things, and we know nothing of exorcism. And whether in Argos or San Francisco, there are certain invariable laws, unalterable in the nature of music. There is nothing to be done about it. There is nothing to do about anything. And now it is nearly time for the news. We must listen for the weather report and the international catastrophes. And also, since I feel this cues to the theme, if I have time,
Yes.
All right, The Princess by Tennyson. Now sleeps the crimson petal, now the white, nor waves the cypress in the palace walk, nor winks the gold fin in the porphyry font. The firefly wakens, waken thou with me. Now droops the milk-white peacock like a ghost, and like a ghost she glimmers unto me. Now lies the earth all Danae to the stars, and all thy heart lies open unto me. Now slides the silent meteor on, and leaves a shining furrow as thy thoughts in me. Now folds the lily all her sweetness up, and slips into the bosom of the lake. So fold thyself, my dearest, thou, and slip into my bosom, and be lost in me. Thank you.
Round robin. All right, Garrett. Unless there's someone named Paul. Is there someone named Paul here? A different Paul? Okay, I think he left. Okay, Garrett Murphy, bring him on up. And then we got Melissa Shem, Karen, and Ra. Garrett.
Doing something very unusual. Two of the pieces I'll read tonight are from other people, and they're both poets who are from the Barbados, where I spent the first week of August visiting.
Yeah, you man.
And in the process, I managed to pick up a few books from writers from there, and this is part of an anthology. And this first piece is by Edward Brathwaite, called Discoverer. Columbus, from his after deck, watched stars absorbed in water, well, on liquid amber drifting through my summer air, now with morning shadows lifting. Benches stretched before him, cold and clear. Birds circle, flapping flag and mizzen mast. Birds harshly hawking without fear. Discovery, he sailed for what's so near. Columbus, from his afton deck, watched heights he hoped for. Rocks he dreamed rise solid from my simpler waste. Paris screamed, soon he would teach our land his charted mind's desire. The blue sky blessed the morning with its fire. But did his vision fashion as he watched us share the slaughter that his soldiers furthered here? Pike, point, and musket butt, but splintered courage bones, cracked with bullet shot, flip back boot in my belly, the whip is unmarked desire. Columbus from his afterdeck saw bearded fig trees, yellow pools, blaze like pollen and thin, waterfalls suspended in the green as the eyes climbed towards the highest ridges where our farms were hidden. Now he was sure he heard soft voices mocking in the leaves. What did this journey mean? This new world mean discovery, or a return to terrors he had sailed from, known before? I watched him pause. Then he was splashing silence. Crabs snapped their claws and scattered as he walked towards our shore. And this piece is called Apologia, and the author is Frank Collymore. We, the unknown, the abortive poets, scribbling this and that, knowing full well the futility of all our efforts, spoil for the critics showing, knowing the impending dark wave of oblivion in the offing which will shatter our souls as sandcastles, the wave which runs halt to our rhyme chatter, but knowing also that we must strive to pour out the heart's libation to thankfulness through those same be weak or sour, the wine be weak or sour, for we, the unknown, the abortive hearts, we too have clasped the rose that flames upon the vision and die soon, too soon for the heart's repose. Now this is my own piece called Mirror Image. You come to the mirror, there you are on the other side, the reflection of what might have been had your road been different. Looks familiar, does it not? And yet there you are, looking at yourself as yourself looks at you. Clearly one of you is seen from the heights as the other of you, though perhaps content as well, somehow in a way seem to look and long, and the one may inquire if this was worth it. Your two selves stare at each other and decide it indeed was. You mutually smile as you come to terms with each other and possibly say, look at us now. You indeed did make the right choice. Walter Mitty, you are not.
Happy birthday. All right. Melissa Mella is next. Can I ask you a quick question?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you read in the place of someone else, right?
Yeah.
Can you give me, just put your name here so because I want to make sure I have your name correct.
Oh, okay.
I just want to make sure. I had to make sure I got her name before I.
You're doing a good job there, Dan. You're catching those things. I'm glad.
Yeah, well, you know what they say in France, don't you?
Melissa
Kinda, you know.
Missed you.
I haven't been writing at all, so that's one of the
Give us
reasons I
yours.
haven't come. But yeah,
You forgot everything you read.
probably. I've been thinking a lot about the desert, so I'll read this one.
Oh, great.
I wrote this poem for one of my best friends for her birthday last year. There's something about the vastness of the desert, you said, the way the sky opens up, stars poised like so many dust particles in a beam of light at dawn or dusk. And it is more aromatic than desolate, a sharp, sweet shrapnel smell when the rain comes, oily like leather, like tobacco bitter pungencies. I pick up earth, bones and bullets, a mother bunch for the sensing. To render barrenness is to deny a cusp, a wing, and a sadness deep as canyons run is no excuse for death. A quick plasma pop sends embers shooting into ash. Where fire once flickered as necessity, entranced onlookers heartily asked respect. There are now greedy screens, irreverently beaming thieves. Rusted hatchet blade on splintered wooden handle rests among boxes of kindling. We are not built solely for city living. Safety is the riptide breath of a slumbering dog, the tinny whistle of a hummingbird, every corpse pose and inevitable ending, a part of a gun. Fragility falls off like a band-aid on wet skin if you let it. You hold on to your saguaro boot canteen by its dead woody ribs and drink. Thanks.
Wow.
A or B?
A. B. Hey, B. Baba. Abba,
You
Abba.
guys said A. I really wanted to do B, but that's fine.
B.
People have spoken.
No, the people are confused.
Yes, people are now confused.
Whatever you want.
Okay, I want to do this one now because you guys wanted it.
All right.
Doing A.
Side of palm slides across page, smudges wet ink, gives illusion that words continue after stopping. How can such delicate abstractions like lines on page or breath on ear hold weight after release? Across the room, a light fixture hangs, suspended from chain in a birdcage. Everyone is looking at a computer screen. Why do we feel compelled to capture that which cannot be contained? No, our bodies are not our design. Perhaps that explains why sitting with stillness can be hard for you or anyone. Outside, the sky is falling monotonously. Until now, I never noticed how water droplets collected on windows reflect tiny upside-down likenesses of the world. Until now, I never noticed how love is a perpetual mix-up between a bridge and drowning and floating away in every direction.
Yeah. That is the voice of Melissa Mello, the poetry of the master there. All right, and Shem, the jazz artiste of all times. We have to have a nickname for this guy. I think I'll just call him Shem.
So, this poem started last Friday, towards the end of the workday. I stole about an hour to start, and it's been hounding me for almost a week. Combing through it, I don't think it's done yet, but it grew a little too big, so I'm just going to do some excerpts. I'm going to start out, then I'm going to switch to a middle part, and then we'll end it with something topical. Blue luck inverted, an upside-down four-leaf clover, purplish, more red than dead, overgrown and sulky in a tinny little boat stuck in a quagmire rowing in place, nostalgic for a dream that seemed like destiny at the time, but never really manifested. Queen Anne laced them up good when her turn came around. Kingdoms united in perpetuity, a couple of fat blood sausages and a sizable annuity. Set 'em up and lay 'em down, to the fat lady with the crown and the Whig and Tory two-party system's sails caught a gust. To prime the pump and stump the growing throat lump of hungry masses still wallowing in filth into swallowing this bill of goods, lump sum trust funds accruing interest for the well-fed landed gentry and their ilk. A pint of gin, a lump of coal, and a crust of bread for the work-weary kept them bleary and consenting. Maybe a leaky lean-to with a single cot and a pot to piss in, just enough time to get drunk, fuck, and pass out before it's back to heavy lifting on the docks, if they had any kind of pull at all with Lady Luck. And thusly thrust into the future, feverish and blustery, a couple of conventional two-party parties, the truest, bluest pimps and panderers and their bestest bottom bitches, party like hardened arteries, stoned to the kidneys, donors freshly harvested organs kept on ice for any on-the-fly transplant needs that might arise. The most heroic super savior surgeons at beck and call in the back of the hall with the rest of the charming hostesses and servants. Keep the Manichaean machinations churning. The elemental extraction contraptions keep them pumping, bumping and scraping all the fracking crude they can to the last drop, and all the metals, precious, semi-precious or not, but it really doesn't matter, does it? As long as we keep pulling this shit out of the ground, we can still get this easy money, they chortle giddily, gleeful fist bumps and ass slaps all around, complicit, in agreement with their greedy logic. Not to get while the getting is good would just be stupid. Guns, gas, gold, minerals, coal, diamonds soaked in blood from the Fertile Crescent to Africa to South Pacific to Alaska to the Appalachians, and with a little more snow melt to beyond the Arctic Circle. Jerks with their O faces on full tilt, pushing it into the hilt, squeezing out every last iota of exploitable materia prima, going nuts, busting through the ceilings of their quoted quota packages. A lewd concoction for a post-apocalyptic cocktail glass filled to the rim. Drug your dreams, imprison your conscience, murder your profits, always keep a keen eye on your next quarter's profit margin, and remember to keep all those miscreants and malcontents on the margin. Promote your protean proto-homo sapiens aggressors as they brown nose and bully their way into executive suites like bulldozing bulldogs with bullhorns and a penchant for laying waste to make way for glistening new glass buildings to scrape the sky with, and a certain weakness for a good con and an artful cheat and the strong arm of a heavy-handed thief. Everybody wants to be czar or kaiser or king or whatever, but this one likes to daydream about opening a chain-link fenced-in zone for golf course midway mega malls all along every underexploited coastline from North Korea to Kazakhstan, so he can re-inaugurate Orange Julius, with his too much beta carotene and his skin cream fat face as the mascot, and maybe sponsor a local sports team or two so he can get a fanfare parade whenever he comes through, and fun new items on the menu like Caesar salad to pass the time and keep from losing interest, and special tweet incentive treats for return customers to drum up business, and he could pay out ridiculously puny severance packages to all the little people he'd get to fire. Yeah, that would be great. And flat screen camera eyes disguised as framed portraits of his favorite fascists would hang on all the walls for every passerby to admire. Twitter, Tweety, Twitty-two, an absent-minded grin, drool dribbling lazily from his chubby orange chin. Just some smarmy carny with a certain Elmer Fudd type swagger, who somehow sneakily snaked his way to the big tops in a ring, much to the chagrin of the box seat bigwigs, bankrolling the whole shindig, pulling a fast one and pulling off his ugly fuck you pimp performance. I am Donald J. Trump, billionaire. I own a hotel chain and a couple of skyscrapers. I had my own TV show, and now I'm the goddamn president, and I'm gonna kill that wascally wabbit if it's the last thing I do, shtick. Or so they'd have you think. As he brazenly declares national debt bankruptcy to the IMF, seizing all public assets with his pudgy, pussy-grabbing digits, awkwardly fidgeting and blurting random rants. At White House press conferences like some overblown signifying infant orangutan, but pretty soon now most likely the masters of war and disaster who really run this shit show, their bean counter number crunchers calculating daily blowback resilience capacity projections will let him down from his high seat, give him a clean bill of sale and a fresh bib and send him packing. Inaugurate the next distractingly captivating bad actor to star in this money laundering live streaming electro-political survival island reality series, still erroneously referred to by some as a representative democracy in action, until what? We flip the clover over again, rise together in unison, reclaim our better natures, Homo sapiens almonds, one can only hope, keep alive, and stay afloat.
Yeah. Thank you. That's Shem. Jazzy Jumping, Karen, Milan, for our closer Rob, and these fancy prizes designed with your minds in mind.
I thought it was important to just to remind everybody, Saturday, Leonard Bernstein's birthday. This whole week, everybody's celebrating his 100th. Unfortunately, he's not around anymore. And Claude Debussy today, his birthday. So it's a very musical week. And that's why that was the main thing. But I'll say a couple things. Okay, this is my shadow. My shadow walks into the noontime shade of singing trees and disappears. And shadows of the trees in my own shadowed form fall victim to the shadows of the clouds above and miles away the sun becomes a hidden host as earth turns slowly, smiling like a Mona Lisa, turns her face towards southern spheres. My shadow and the shadow of the trees and shadows of the clouds dissolve in nighttime thoughts, while witches ride across the moon and shadowed craters smile upon the witches' brooms, and smile in my own shadowed room, a Mona Lisa smile. Paths enter and exit, circle and circumvent, wander, meander, paths in fields or fancy, paths in woods or words, paths of life, paths exalting, paths humble, paths crossed, paths traversed by friends, family, those who love, those who hate, crossed by adventure, crossed by misfortune. One small path, one infant path, wonders where she leads. One small path wonders where he feeds into another path, trod by paws, hooves, shoes, web feet, bare feet, wheels, ideas. One small path dreams ideas of all who tread its pebbles, dirt, concrete, of all who tread damp leaves upon its path, of all who leave the leaves, of all who come upon its welcome or dread path leading nowhere, anywhere, ending in beginnings of beginning paths and ancient paths, a little path, an infant path, whose path is past remembering. And then this is just a last little moment. Words. Was there a time of no words? No need to translate. Silence speaking nuances of thought. Love touching, loss, weeping, pain writhing, eyes absorbing, reflecting colors, feelings, tears resting, waiting, weeping, wanting, words. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen.
Can you have Garrett put the poems and the names of the poets and the name of the poems there? I got a pen here. I didn't get a chance to tell him. I'll give that to him.
All right,
Oh,
Rob.
Rob.
Part 2, and then the prizes, ladies and gentlemen. We have more prizes than there are people, so yeah, very good luck tonight. Is that Rob?
Hello.
Hello.
I want to thank Britt. Britt's piece reminded me. I saw a car this week that had 2 bumper stickers, and the first bumper sticker said, "Women are never wrong," and the second bumper sticker said, "Question authority." That's my kind of funny.
Okay.
And back in the happy land of Howloon at the open mic, the Empress pulled the remaining strips of skin from her body. Beneath, a glistening steel skeleton with glowing ochre eyes looked out over the crowd. Ranky was a blowbot, part robot, part leaf blower. She grabbed Sharon Senior and Dan Bradifus, tossed them over her head, and then hit them with a burst of air that sent them hundreds of feet straight up. Ranky cackled, and 14 seconds later, they came screaming back to Earth with 2 billowing thuds. They reacquainted themselves with terra firma. When the dust cleared, a hand appeared from within Sharon Senia's impact crater. She pulled herself out and tossed the remains of her own flesh aside. Sharon Senia was a Terminator, an otter-shaped robot with huge diamond paws that crushed opponents like otters crushed mollusk shells with sea rocks. Aren't they just too clever? Bless their little hearts. Ranky hissed, "Impressive, but how will you crush me if you can't touch me?" And she aimed her blower. But at just that moment, a hand shot out of Dan Bradifus's impact crater, toppling Ranky. Sharon Senior sprang and crushed the Blowbot's power core. As Ranky's eyes faded to black, she whispered, "But I never did my number." Dan Bradifus pulled himself out of his crater and tossed his own skin suit aside, for he was no ordinary eunuch. He was a dreaded cyborg. Part cyborg, part iceberg, ready to kill Kate and Leo, but sadly not Leo's acting career. As Terminator and Cyborg hugged, Ranky's face split open, and out flew the most beautiful butterfly. It landed and plaintively whispered, "Don't hurt me." Sharon Senior said, "But why?" Ranky replied, "I got tired of all the other caterpillars making fun of me because I never turned into a caterpillar. I figured if I became an evil empress, no one would make fun of me again. I didn't mean to hurt anyone." Sharon Senior said, "The caterpillars made fun of you for not turning into a caterpillar?" The butterfly nodded. "Oh, honey, you and I need to talk." Sharon Senior's breast swiveled open, and out climbed a koala bear. "I'm gonna take the ex-empress for a walk, Dan Bradifus. Can you clean up things here?" He nodded. She paused. "And you're a real cyborg, Dan Bradifus?" From somewhere within him, a thin voice replied, "No, I'm a teacup Yorkie. When he was alone on what was left of the stage, he turned to the crowd and realized that they were all passed out, drunk, which is what one can only expect when musicians, comedians, and poets are given access to an open bar. His chest cavity popped open, and Dan Bradifus, the teacup Yorkie, jumped down and contentedly licked his balls. The end.
An exciting conclusion to a wonderful story. Well, next week we have Jan Steckel as our feature, and I'm just going to reintroduce you to all these prizes. You got James Joyce Dubliners, The Voice of the Desert, Egypt, Canaan, and Israel in Ancient Times, Karl Marx's Concept of Man, Nature's Wonders, Birds of America, The Last Cowboys of San Geronimo. I decided to put one of those in. Actually, and also Pinwheel Turns a Kiss. It's a 2-for-1. There's one book on this side, one book on that. The double has Bob Dewhurst. And then there's the keynote, the theme, the mini, the last word. Give her a round of applause for And when you signed in, there was numbers. So here are the numbers, and she's gonna shuffle them just once, and we'll pick through numbers. And if you read, then you're on here somewhere. And we'll take care of business. Toot sweet. Thank you, my dear. Who's 21?
Melissa.
Whoa!
Melissa Mel, first right out of the book.
You gotta come back.
Anything?
Oh, definitely the one about the desert.
I was wondering about that. There we go. 22.
I'll do the mini.
Ooh, we got a mini. Dun, dun, dun.
Sorry, Rob.
No, Rob likes the last word.
18.
He gets any.
House.
Al. The mighty, the wonderful, the magical, the mystical.
Here. Nature's World of Wonders.
Yes, Nature's World of Wonders.
Oh, this looks interesting.
Huh? Oh yeah. Oh, the guitar is part of the thing. I forgot.
The guitar is a prize?
Yes, it is a prize. Thanks to Rob.
I'll take the Audubon Birds of
Audubon.
But this is incredible. That's
Jake Patterson.
Can I trade in my name for a guitar? See, I told you.
Hey. Guess I'll take the guitar if no one else is gonna.
No, it's there. That's what it's there for. Tommy brought that, so thank that guy over there.
Thank you, Tommy.
Britt Peter.
Good. I'm definitely gonna learn.
Oh, he goes for the Dubliners.
This is another thing.
26. 26. Rob.
I'll take the marks.
Marks?
There we go.
You know he had a brother.
Oh, me too.
Jello? Did she leave?
Can I pick something for her?
Yes, you can.
She's out of her car. Nature's World of Wonders.
I guess we're not allowed that.
This one.
Okay.
One of these days.
Garrett Murphy?
Aaron Murphy!
Garrett Murphy.
Hey!
You know what they say.
There are two Garrett Murphys. What do they say?
Yes, there are, but he's both.
What do they
of them.
say?
So you got Pinwheel, Cowboys, General, or this. You can choose the next week's theme if you want to do that. That's any kind of prompt or idea or theme you want us to focus on. You remember Bob Dewhurst, that's his.
Mine, I lost my, being a big part of poetry, the word itself, to my 3G. Just like, I'm Jake. What's yours? Melissa, nice to meet you. Yeah, no problem. Some pictures in there. Yeah. It's always a theme in my... Depending on what it is. Yeah, that's true.
What I didn't hear it, sorry.
And the scope of one's work.
The scope of one's work.
Yes.
Okay, the theme is the scope of one's work. The scope of one's work. And Sharon Scott, kiss your neck.
Is it wood?
Rock. Get out of here.
Is it
This?
wood? I think so. So he knows. How do you co-pilot?
We got a co-pilot.
Nice inlay.
She's a glutton for punishment. All right.
That's the A string that's missing. That's the string that's missing.
Thank you so much, Dan.
Thank you, thank you. Oh, I got, so we'll be talking.
Huh?
We'll be talking, because some of these people, if they want to think about ever doing a feature, you say, he says, any one of you can be a good thing, so if they want to do that, and then you, we'll talk about you coming. We'll talk about you coming.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
So we'll talk, this could, I like it.
I love it. I love the idea. Yes, thank you so much.
No, it was good. It was good. It was really nice. Fantastic.
They didn't know, and they parked over there in the school and they locked the gates.
Oh my God.
So now they got a locksmith, but then she didn't explain it well enough on the phone. He came and he said, "What? It's not your property. I can't open the it's just a lock for the gate. You can just lock it back up." Yeah, well, I have to call back.
So that's what was going on. Oh, Tommy!
Hey! Well, what did I do again, baby?
Well, there's these three things and those two things. Oh, well, excuse me, I'm so sorry.
So, tell me again, the keynote does, somebody else will call them, and then they do.
And then it comes back for the open.
Right, and the last word you do.
Starts
the
and finishes the second half, and then there's the.
I guess I'll do the last word.
We got a last word.
Tom. I saw Tom.
Yeah, we got him. Richard?
Yes, Richard. Keynote there still? Keynote still there?
Yeah,
Oh,
isn't
the
it?
keynote.
Yeah, the keynote.
Keynote. Sorry, Owen.
Does anybody want this book? I'm just tired of waiting. Anybody want? Cowboys? Last Cowboys of San Geronimo? Anybody? Going once? It's gonna be next week. Pinwheel turns a kiss. Poetry. All right.
And a hand for Dan Brady.
Thank you. Thank you, Rob. I always appreciate it. Makes me feel like a real human being.
Obviously, prejudice against
I will definitely learn how to